Hi, Michael.
Hi, Mitra.
When are you high?
When am I high?
Hmm.
When am I high? What a great question to start off with. I'm high when I'm serving others as a vessel from God. And what I mean by that is when I'm able to take my experiences, my lessons, what I've been through, to show others that they don't have to go through the same thing to come out the other side. I feel high on life. A much different high than I felt for the majority of my life.
A more
Yes,
sustainable high.
More sustainable high.
more sustainable. So that's a great answer. I want to know, do you also serve yourself and do you get high on that?
One of the ways I serve myself is by serving others. It serves me to remind me where I came from and what I've been through, and that it was all for a purpose. It was all for a reason. It wasn't in vain. And so by serving others, I serve myself. It gives me an energy, a joy, a freedom that I don't experience in a lot of other realms of life. And there's other ways I need to serve myself as well.
Tell me about that.
There's a lot self-love, of course, and part of that is physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Taking care of my body. I've gone through several surgeries, back surgeries, shoulder surgeries, and so forth. I've put my body second to my purpose, which I no longer will do. What a blessing.
Wow.
And I had a couple of back surgeries. I actually just had an epidural. And, getting massages, going to the gym, going to the steam room, getting ice baths. These are super, super, super important elements of self-love.
For you.
I imagine for everyone, but yes, for me. For me.
Okay.
And if we're not taking care of our body, then we're going to break down at some point in our lives. So that's the physical piece. Like emotionally becoming closer to understanding the emotional range of feelings that I, as a man, I'll speak as a man because I am a man, have been avoiding for the majority of my life, getting more intimate with those feelings, getting more comfortable with expressing them. Mentally, getting out of my head so much of overthinking everything and getting deeper into the spiritual side of my mental being, which is prayer, might be meditation for other people, and being able to deeply connect with God's source energy, whatever you want to call it, that allows me to deeply, deeply trust my intuitive guide. So those other areas are ways that I serve myself.
Yes. I want to ask you to see if you can, and if you can, that's fine. I know it's an odd question, but I want to see if you can tell your story in about a paragraph or less.
Paragraphs can be pages.
That's why I said less. Short paragraph, maybe I should have said. How about
A short paragraph.
Yeah.
Okay, how about I am the son of an entrepreneur who learned what success was through the lens of financial gain and had that at the center of everything I focused on for the majority of my life until I had it and realized it wasn't what I wanted. How's that?
That was very good. Well done. By the way, not many people can do that. And
Thank you.
How attached are you to this story?
How attached am I to that story? Not attached to it at all.
So right now, as we're speaking, you and I and Ben, are you showing up like as you are in this moment without remembering or wanting, desiring to say something about that story?
I have no desire to speak about the story anymore during the interview. It's not who I am, it's a part of what I've been through.
Ah, beautifully put. Beautifully put. It's not who I am, it is what I have gone through or been through. Okay, so who are you in this moment?
I'm a loving vessel of truth through a lens that I've traveled.
To many people who are listening, they may not understand what that means or relate to it if they understand it. If you were to simplify that and tell me who you are in this moment, what simpler? I'm saying that, by the way, let me just say that because I'm very dyslexic and English is my second language. So if you were to use much simpler words, what words would you use to say who you are?
I don't know if these are simpler words, but what I'm being channeled, the words that that are coming out of my mouth. And let me take a deep breath and recalibrate. I'm an evolving human being in the pursuit of as much love as I can receive and give through God.
Yes. Thank you. Who do you love right now?
I love Mitra and Ben at this very moment because of the energy and devotion that you're putting into these questions and the delicacy that you're presenting them in. And I experience this as a spiritual interview.
Thank you.
And I have love for the amount of love you're putting into this. I can feel it. I can connect to the love in this virtual room we were all sitting in right now. And as I look at Ben, who I've known, and I see the one word on the same shirt that I also have, and the word is light, I can feel the light amongst the three of us.
Wow. Wow. Thank you.
I feel it and I see it. Dash, I'm really curious. 3 words, if you were to pick 3 words to describe this character of Michael Dash from, let's say, 15 years ago to the Michael Dash today, what would be the 3 words you would describe the old Michael Dash, and what would be the 3 words that you would describe the present Michael Dash?
Relentless, passionate, ego-driven. The new words, service, passionate, and love.
I love that there's that common denominator there, right? That
Yeah.
passion hasn't left. It's how you're using the passion now. So, Dash, I've known you for about a year, a little over a year now, and I've gotten to know you as you are now, today. And you're an incredible human, so loving, so heart-centered, so courageous. And I don't know much about your story and what the tipping point was for you. I'm really curious to know if your transition from this old Michael Dash that was more ego-driven to the new Michael Dash that's service-oriented, that is driven by love, was that like a very just gradual, incremental progression, or was there a event that happened that just changed everything?
Yes.
Yes and yes. Yes and yes. That's how it usually is.
Yes and yes. There was a gradual progression as I worked my way through several addictions that eventually led to a culmination in a lawsuit that lasted 6 years, and that I spent $1 million on my own lawyers over a $350,000 case. And I realized I was disconnected from my soul, and that I had just been chasing and chasing and chasing the high, which is the name of my book, and chasing everything was a chase. And when I scaled back, when I took a macro view, I realized it was all around ego, yes, but money. It was all around money because money was driving my ego. Money was driving my status. Money was driving my power. And there was a day of reckoning when I was sitting in court after 6 years, and the judge took the jury. The jury voted on the case between me and my ex-business partner, and he read the ruling. And I thought everything was over, and it wasn't about who won or lost. It was just like it was over. And then, like, the other side stood up and said they were going to appeal.
Oh, God.
And that was the day where I said, I don't care what they want. This is done for me. I will sell everything I have to pay whatever I need to. I want my life back. And over the next several weeks, month, a settlement was made. And I ended up paying the $350K I owed six years late prior. And it just cost me $1 million more.
Yikes.
Lawyer fees.
Yikes.
And the reckoning was, it wasn't the money. It was, for the first time in my life, it wasn't about the money. I sold my houses, by the way. I had 4 houses. I sold them. I sold my business, and I paid everything off. But it wasn't about the money. I was like, I don't care about the money anymore. I had just invested 6 years of my existence. And I realized it's time that is the most precious commodity, not money. I can make the money back, but the time is gone forever. And that was really the time in my life where everything changed.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing how sometimes we have to go through those experiences, right? Like, I could have, someone could have told you, a wise mentor could have told you before all of this, and it probably wouldn't have sunk in. Like, sometimes there's just no other way. We have to go through that really difficult situation. We have to go through the ringer for us to realize, okay, like, what am I thinking? What was I thinking? Like, this is, I get it. I got it. Okay, God, I got the lesson. I surrender. Received. And
yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know about your story, that was the tipping point. Because you've had a journey of overcoming addictive habits, right? You had the addiction previously to gambling. I think there were some other things, and you have also been on a journey of recovering from that and redirecting that energy. Was that also, was this case a tipping point for that as well, or was your recovery journey underway during this time?
It's interesting because I imagine everyone has some sort of addiction.
I agree.
And what I realized is I was addicted to addiction. And so when I stopped gambling, and I've been clean for 18 years now, I realized that the other addictions I picked up were all an addiction to the addiction. And if I scale it out even further, I was still gambling. I just wasn't gambling in the manner of using a bookie or going to a casino or being a bookie or, playing cards with my friends or betting on sports, which were all the other ways I was gambling for over 20 years of my life every single day. But I was now gambling with drugs. I was now gambling with money. And money in the terms of business, taking risky business decisions, I was gambling in terms of investments, very high risky investments. I was in the stock market. I was drinking and driving. Talk about a gamble. I got arrested. I don't know if you knew that about me, but I got arrested for DUI.
No, I didn't know that.
I got arrested for DUI. And I was humiliated at myself. So I was still gambling, and addiction has had a huge part of my life. And I realize even now you have social media, you have these phones, you have drama. People are addicted to drama, let me tell you. They're addicted to bringing drama into their life. And they don't call it an addiction. They'll call it dependency issues, codependency, this people pleasing, all this other stuff. And those things exist, yes. And at the core of it, I think, is like there are addictive patterns in all of us. And work, obviously, work. Work was a big addiction of mine too. Money was a big addiction of mine. These were all addictions.
Same.
I was chasing every dollar. I was working 14 hours a day, whatever it was, 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day. It was an addiction. These are all addictions. And that's why I do the work that I do now with my retreats, especially. So, yeah, it's played a prominent part of my life, going back to your question, addiction, and it's still in my life. Yeah, I don't have a gambling addiction. I don't have a cocaine addiction. I don't have an Adderall addiction anymore. I don't have a marijuana addiction. But there are still things I'm addicted to. At one point, I was addicted to running. There can be positive addictions, but they're also, it's super important in my experience that we have a balanced life. What does that mean? That we have fulfillment in like main areas of our life. And for me, it's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual.
Yeah, agreed. It's all energy. I see it as all energy, and it's just how we direct that energy, right? I perceive you as someone with so much energy moving through you, and it's creative energy. It's powerful energy, and that energy, for a lot of people, we don't know how to direct that energy, so we become addicted to things. I was addicted to work, addicted to my success. I was addicted to my anxiety, to my pain. Because it was all of this energy that I didn't know what to do with. I didn't know how to direct it. So what has helped you to redirect your energy? Like what have been the things that one is the core mindsets that has helped you redirect your energy, and then like what else have you done to help bring balance and redirect this energy in a more constructive and creative way?
I would say slowing my mind down is a big one. The pursuit of knowledge, the pursuit of continuing to peel the onion, who is myself, to get to the core essence of who I am, and to love all of those parts of me.
Oh man, I feel the same. It's been very similar for me, especially the last point.
Yeah, to realize that I judge people. And guess what? It's okay. I don't need to judge myself because of that. I also can let these judgments go. But they do happen. And it's one of the lessons I took from Humaniversity, that it's a part of you, and also you're a loving human being, and also you're a light and vessel, and also you're very funny, and also you're damn good looking, and also all these things are a part of who we are. We can shame ourselves for them, or we can accept ourselves and not deny them. And I'm not suggesting that we should go judge everybody and tell them every thought that crosses our mind. No. But accepting that that these things do cross our mind is what loving ourselves deeper is all about, and not judging ourselves for them.
Yeah. I think it's all about what you do with it. To me, it's not that I do judge or don't judge, but do I take actions and take it to the next step? Or do I witness it and see it and then say, okay, that was just I always say to my mind, thank you for your opinion. And like, thanks. Don't need anything more from you. You can leave now. But yeah, I agree with you with that. I had one question for you that was born when you said something, and I didn't get a chance to do it right there and then. When you spoke about you being a man, there was a very strong emphasis. You said, I'm a man because I am a man. And that emphasis gave birth to a huge curiosity in me, that what does that mean to you to be a man? What does that even mean, that you're a man? Or why there was such an emphasis on it?
I think there's such an emphasis on it because I can speak from a man's perspective. And I imagine that living in the world we live in, a woman's experience is different than my experience. As a man, I can feel safe in dangerous places that female companions of mine don't feel safe in. And so, and I say that because I live in Tulum, Mexico, where I feel safe everywhere. But a lot of women who are in my life don't feel the same safety I do. So when I am asked by a woman, let's say outside of Tulum, hey, is it safe in Tulum? I always preface it by saying, I can only speak from my perspective, which is a man's perspective. And for me, I feel safe. However, some of my female friends don't feel as safe as I do here. So I want to make sure that I share that with you. I can also answer what it means to be a man, but this is why I put an emphasis on that, because I know there's a distinction between a man and a woman's experience. And if I'm taking it into business and I'm sitting in a boardroom, a white man like myself has a different experience than a black man in a boardroom and then a woman in a boardroom. And I am aware of that because I'm connected to all sorts of different people, and I've sat in in the seat where they've also been in the room.
Yeah, I understand that. So from physical perspective and safety, I understand that. And I'm now going to ask a question about the energetic aspect of a man and a woman, meaning masculine and feminine energies. Because I hear you have done a lot of work on yourself, I assume you've also worked on your feminine energies, because you talked about balance. And balance means that we hold both energies and call those energies as appropriate. So do you connect to that statement? Is that something that you've done work on or interested in? Have you done any work on your more feminine energies? Not physically, of course. Feminine energy being more nurturing, more connected to your heart, more of an idea builder rather than the construction of the idea builder.
Yeah, absolutely. Specifically with my heart. It's why I was at Humaniversity, I imagine, to truly understand the essence of everything. The essence of everything, at least how I came out of this 2 week experience, is that regardless of what perspective anybody is coming from, beneath it all, when you strip all the emotion, when you strip all the action, it really comes down to the basic need of love. Either the pursuit of it, the receiving of it, or the lack thereof it in your life. All the actions around us are in pursuit of that. And most of us aren't connected to that in the world because we're all out there trying to achieve something and feel safe and feel validated. And I'm no different. But I've connected now to a deeper sense that if somebody is lashing out, it's most likely because they haven't been receiving the amount of love that they want. Whether they know how to receive it, whether they know how to pursue it, is a different conversation. But it's not. It's a cry. It's a call out for a connection to a deeper emotion and a higher frequency of that emotion, which is love.
Yes, I relate to that, what you said. So if you had consulted with your, let's say you called it love, I call it more feminine energy, whatever it's called, that side of you, let's just use our imagination and imagine that's the day that you received your information that somebody has sued you, and you're just reading it, and it's next day, and you're thinking, okay, what should I do? Had you been connected to this side of you, to this part of you, what do you think you would have done differently?
It's hard for me to answer that question because in the framework you sent it, you laid it out, because I know what I would have done differently from the experience.
Fair enough.
So my conscious mind tells me I would have paid her right there and gone on with my life.
Mm-hmm.
But because I've already reconciled that in my life, that if I had to do it all over again, my ego would not have been involved in the decision at all. It never would have got to that point.
Right.
I wouldn't answer the question any other way, but to say that I never would have allowed it to get to that point if I knew then what I know now, of course.
That answer told me how aware you are. Thank you. Thank you. Only an aware person will answer like that. I appreciate that. Yeah. So basically, you couldn't imagine it because it was too solid of a picture in your mind, and you knew logically enough information that you couldn't really go to the imagination land and imagine what would have been. Correct?
Yes, because there wouldn't I would not have made any other decision in my conscious mind now, and the being that I am now, and the enlightenment that I've had now. I would not have made any other decision but to say,
Yes.
here you go. Thank you so much for your service.
I know somebody is listening thinking, really? If they're in the middle of a lawsuit? It's such a foreign statement to hear.
If they're in the middle of a lawsuit, I send them so much love and so much light, and my message to them is, you will never get this time back. You will never get this time back in your life. You will never get this energy back in your life.
Okay, let's give them something else, because the price you paid was 6 years and $1 million. What was the prize you got?
Freedom. Freedom from what I thought I loved doing, which I realized was not connected to my purpose. I was just really good at it. And because I was good at it, I convinced myself I loved it. Because it got me the 4 houses, it got me the nice cars. I was able to open the bar. I was able to be have a lot of power. I was a popular guy. I was in the mag at 30 under 30. I ran the marathons. I climbed the mountains. I got all that stuff, and I was fueled by all of that. And some of that was great, and I loved it. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the core essence of why I was put on this earth. And I imagine I had to go through all that to realize why I was put on this earth.
Not a bad deal, though. The tuition of University of Life, 1,000,000 6 years, liberation. Wow, I would do it.
And there's a better way.
Thank you. Do tell. What would have been the better way?
The better way would have been to connect to a higher spirit, to connect to God or source or what universe or whatever you want to call it, and have a spiritual practice that kept me aligned. And I didn't have that in my life at the time.
You bring up a really interesting point. Aligned, right? Aligned. And when we're aligned, these things are actually, it's so easy. The answers are so clear, right? When we're aligned, when we're in our center, it's obvious. It's like, that's clearly the path of unhappiness. And this is a much better path for me. I'm going to take this other path. And it's an interesting thing. I know it sounds so simple, but it's been something profound that I've experienced, and I'm curious to know if you've had a similar experience with it, that like things like joy, things like doing something and doing it well, achieving success, actually they're not meant to be, we're not meant to suffer to get those things, right? And there's actually no trying involved. It's actually quite effortless when we're aligned, right? We know. Does that resonate for you, Dash?
Yeah, it's a flow state. It's when you get into a state of being where it's an energetic force that's driving through you, that you're just in pure joy while you're doing it. I resonate with it because I consider myself now an alignment expert. I built this whole alignment assessment out online for free for people. Like, I host my retreats as it's all about us getting aligned, aligning our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual with our vision and mission in life. Aligning that,
Right.
And not like being stuck in what we've been doing just because we're good at it. If it's not connected to our soul and the purpose of why we are here, right?
Yeah. And I think the challenge is that many people have forgotten what it feels like to be aligned. Alignment is not the baseline. Being out of alignment is the baseline. That's the norm. And so you're helping people find alignment.
It's disease. It's dis-ease. Disease, when you have a disease, your cells are out of alignment within your body, causing a specific disease to occur. Let's just say cancer, for instance. That's your cells are in dis-ease. They're out of alignment. And that's what the state of most people are. Most people are in this survival state.
I agree. Let's clarify what we mean when we say alignment. Mm-hmm. I see the cells being out of alignment are a side effect of something else being out of alignment. How would you define that?
When your actions are not aligned with your values.
And Mitra, what does it mean to you?
Lack of union, separation.
From what?
from the source and each other and self. So when we are separated, disconnected with ourselves, with others, and the source, then this misalignment that Michael is referring to, which I relate to, occurs. And I mean, any of this combination will take us there. I see it as unity. I suppose these are just different ways of saying the same thing, but for me, the visual that comes to me is like disconnected. And you're right, Michael. I mean, we're sick when the cells of our body actually start working against each other. That's what cancer is. Instead of unity, working with each other, one cell and then eventually more cells start working against the very thing that they're part of. To me, that's what happens in the world when there is problems. They are working, they have bought into the illusion of separation, and they're working against each other. I think there is a you and a us, and that's where we go wrong. But I like the word alignment. I can relate to that. First of all, I was fascinated by the way you told your story without telling your story. That really, really worked for me, because I read your story. I'm a good student. I prepared. But I just said, there must be something more to this person than this story. And I think I somehow heard and saw that person. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you would like to talk about beyond everything we said?
I have no agenda.
Yes, but is there a part of you that we haven't seen today that it would be good for us to see?
I am an adrenaline junkie. I still and always like to set goals and drive to achieve them in alignment with my mission, values, and vision. And I am still in the pursuit of the love of my life.
Yes, that was a good information to have. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, dear listeners, go and check Michael Dash. If what you see you like, and if you're romantically interested, please contact him.
He's a great
Did I?
guy. I'm willing to be a referral. If you need
Wow,
to,
look
if you need references, Dash, I'm happy to be a reference for you.
A new service
I
is
don't know
being born.
I don't know that the reference you're going to give is the one that they want. But I
You don't know that.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. I accept all references, and the last thing I would share is that I desire. I prayed one night, and I was asked a question by my intuition, by God, by whatever was being channeled through me. And the question was, if you died tomorrow, would you have any regrets?
Great question.
And the answer was yes. Not being a father. And so I desire to be a father. And if there's, and I would be glad to be a loving husband also. But my true desire is to be a father. So when all the flood of women message you about me, if you could prioritize the ones who want to have children, that would be great.
Oh, a new service is being born, Ben, here. Maybe we can be a matchmaker service on
this is our pilot with Michael Dash.
Let's see how it goes. There you go. It's something new. But seriously speaking, Michael, what I am taking from this, many things, but I try to find one gift. And the one gift was what you said that I actually wrote down, and I loved it. You said slowing down my mind and focusing on peeling the onion that I am. And that spoke to my heart. Thank you for that statement and that reminder. That really, really spoke to me, and I'm grateful for our conversation.
You're welcome. Thank you. I enjoyed our conversation as well. It was very, very insightful. I enjoyed the questions that you asked.
I would say that resonated with me as well. That's been a big theme for me. And there's something about that. There's just accepting that we are a layered onion, and that we can't rush our healing. That it's a journey, and the challenges will continue, but they continue from a different lens in different colors, and it's just keep peeling back the layers of the onion. And for me, gentleness is the word that comes to my mind. Being gentle with myself. So thank you for reminding me about that, brother.
Of course, we are all mirrors for each other.
Yes. And what's the name of the next book? I forgot.
I haven't come up with it, but what has hit me and resonated, if and when I write my next book, it will be from Chasing the High, which was my first book, to Chasing Silence.
Wow. Thank you. You didn't say it. I was being horrible when I said I forgot. I knew you didn't say it. So, okay, we got a working title at least, and I hope a seed is born. Wonderful chatting with you, Michael.
Thank you very much. Wonderful chatting with you both.
Dash, if anybody wants to connect with you, what's the best way?
The best way would be on most social media.
Okay.
Probably Instagram, MDASH1. I'm also on Facebook and LinkedIn, so you can find me there as well. Yeah.
All right, brother.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. For a list of the links and other resources referenced in this episode, check out the podcast description.
If you're benefiting from our podcast, we'd love if you could help us reach more people by subscribing. Your support means the world to us. From our hearts to yours, we thank you.